Hello friends, today we describe about the action of the glucocorticoids part 2. I hope that all of you are watching the video about the action of the glucocorticoid part 1. Now other action of the glucocorticoid, that mainly the glucocorticoid having an anti-inflammatory effect. Before starting the anti-inflammatory effect of the glucocorticoid, first we see the stages of the inflammation. There are 5 stages of the inflammation. First of all, when there is a damage to the tissue cells, that causes the release of the various chemical substances and that activate the inflammatory procedure. The chemical substances that are released are mainly the histamine, bradykinin, proteolytic enzymes, prostaglandin and leukotrienes. Also, there is an increase in the blood flow in the inflamed area, and that is mainly caused by some of the release product from the tissue, and that affects and this effect that is called the erythema. Due to the increased blood flow, there is a redness in the inflamed area, and that is called the erythema. Leakage of the large quantity of almost pure plasma out of the capillaries into the damaged area, and this is mainly due to the increased capillary permeability followed by clotting of the tissue fluid, and thus causing the non-pitting type of the edemas. Here we know that edema that is due to the leakage of the plasma through the capillaries. So here mainly leakage of the plasma that causes the non-pitting type of the edema along with the clotting of the tissue fluid. Now fourth phase, that is the infiltration of this area by the leukocytes, and fifth, that is after the days or weeks, there is the ingrowth of the fibrous tissue that often helps in the healing process. So these are the 5 basic stages of the inflammation. Now how the cortisols that affects this inflammation, mainly for that we want the large amount of the cortisols, and this large amount of the cortisol that are secreted or injected into the person, this causes the blockage of this early stage of the inflammatory process before the inflammation even begins. And if the inflammation has already begun, it causes the rapid resolution of the inflammation and increase rapidity of the healing. And this all occurs due to the following mechanism. First one, cortisol stabilizes the lysosomal membranes. Here the lysosomal membranes, it is stabilized by the cortisol, and that is an important anti-inflammatory effect, because it is much more difficult than the normal for the membrane of the intracellular lysosome to rupture, and therefore most of the proteolytic enzymes that are released by the damaged cells to cause the inflammation, which are mainly stored in the lysosomes, that are released in greatly decreased quantity in the presence of cortisols. Second, the cortisol decreases the permeability of the capillaries, so probably as a secondary effect of reduced release of proteolytic enzyme. As we described that it stabilizes the lysosomal membrane so that there is no release of the proteolytic enzyme, and therefore there is a decreased permeability of the capillary, and this prevents the loss of the plasma into the tissues. Third one, cortisol decreases the both migration of the white blood cells into the inflamed area and phagocytosis of the damaged cells, and this effect probably results from the fact that cortisol diminishes the formation of the prostaglandin and leukotrienes, and that otherwise would increases the vasodilatation, capillary permeability and mobility of the white blood cells. Fourth one, cortisol suppresses the immune system, causing the lymphocyte reproduction to decrease markedly. The T lymphocytes are especially suppressed, and in turn reduce amount of the T cells and antibodies in the inflamed area, lessen the tissue reaction, and that would otherwise promote the inflammation process. Fifth one, cortisol attenuates the fever mainly because it reduces the release of the interleukin 1 from the white blood cells, and which is the one of the principal excitants to the hypothalamic temperature control system. The decreased temperature in turn reduces the degree of vasodilatations. Now, rapid resolution of the inflammation, how it occurs. It causes increased amino acid mobilization, increases the cellular protein and repair, increases the gluconeogenesis, and increases the fatty acid for the energy. And because of this anti-inflammatory effect, the cortisol is used to combat the certain condition like that of rheumatoid arthritis, rheumatic fever, acute glomerulonephritis, where the inflammation causes more damage than that of the actual disease. And when cortisol other glucocorticoid are administered to the patient with this disease, almost invariably the inflammation begins to subside within 24 hours. So this is asking the explain why the large doses of the cortisol that is used in this disease. So you have to explain all these things. Then effect on the allergic condition like the anaphylaxis etc. can be prevented by cortisol, and this is mainly because it blocks the inflammatory response in the allergy and can prevent the shock and death in the anaphylaxis. The basic allergic reaction between the antigen and antibody that is not affected by the cortisol. Only the allergic condition antigen antibody response that is prevented. Then effect on the blood cells and immunity. Here the cortisol that increases the production of the red blood cells by mechanism that are not clear. When excess cortisol is secreted by the adrenal glands, that is in the that condition, that a pathological condition, the polycythemia often occurs. And when there is a decrease cortisol secretion from the adrenal gland, that causes the anemia. That is due to the decreased production of the red blood cells. If we see the effect on the blood cells, mainly all the blood cells, then increase in the RBC count, neutrophil and platelet count, while decrease in the number of the circulating eosinophil by increasing its destruction in the RE cells, so that is the reticuloendothelial cells. Also it decreases the number of the circulating lymphocyte and basophils. If we see as we know that the lymphocyte number that is decreasing, that causes a reduced immunity, so that there are more chances of the infection and less chances of the rejection of the graft. And how it occurs? When there is administration of the large doses of the cortisol, there is a significant atrophy of all lymphoid tissue throughout the body. That decreases the output of both T cells and antibodies from the lymphoid tissue, and the level of the immunity for almost all foreign invaders of the body that is a decrease, and this occasionally can lead to the fulminating infections and death from the disease that would otherwise not be lethal, such as the fulminating tuberculosis in person whose disease had previously been arrested. So, explained is asked in exam. This ability of the cortisol and other glucocorticoid to suppress the immunity makes them useful drug in preventing the immunological rejection of the transplanted heart, kidney and other tissues. Now, effect on the GIT. It causes increased gastric acid and pepsin secretion and decreases the gastric mucosal cell proliferation and can lead to the peptic ulcers. Also, it increases the fat absorption from the intestine into the lymph. Effect on the CNS. Excess glucocorticoid secretion can increase the activity of the brain and causes a conversion. So that glucocorticoid that is not given in the epilepsy patient, as they decrease the threshold of the conversion, but mineralocorticoid have an opposite effect on the CNS and they can be given to the epilepsy patient. That is asked in the explain of 1 mark in our exam. Now, effect on the CNS during the deficiency of the glucocorticoid. Here there is a patient with a deficiency of the glucocorticoid are hypersensitive sensitive to the taste and smell. Also, slow electrical activity is seen in the brain. Showing of alpha waves in the EEG and personality changes like that of the irritability, insomnia, mental fatigue and loss of concentration can be seen. Now effect on the CPS. They increases the effect of the catecholamine on the heart, also increases the smooth muscle tone and maintain the blood pressure. Glucocorticoids sensitize the arteriole to the constrictor action of the epinephrine and norepinephrine. Also it inhibits the catechol O methyl transferase enzyme, which causes the breakdown of the epinephrine and norepinephrine. And also it stimulates the synthesis of the epinephrine and norepinephrine. So all the effect of the epinephrine and norepinephrine, that is a potentiated. And so glucocorticoid maintain the normal permeability of the capillaries and are useful in the treatment of the cerebral edema and angioneurotic edema. That is asked in the explain of the 1 mark. Now other effect. During the fetal life, this glucocorticoid increases the maturation of the surfactant in the lung. So it is given in case of the doubt of the premature delivery. It is given at the 7th month of the intrauterine life, so that there is a maturation of the surfactant in the lungs. Also it causes the maturation of the pancreatic beta cells. Also it helps in the change of the fetal hemoglobin to the adult hemoglobin. And it causes the development and maturation of the liver enzymes. In large doses, the glucocorticoid inhibit the growth by decreasing the growth hormone and TSH secretion, and glucocorticoid also inhibits the ACTH secretion by negative feedback mechanism. These are the other effects that is seen via these glucocorticoid actions. So thank you for watching this video, and for that I am referring the Guyton and Gano. Thank you.